How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the Outside Freak live stream. I'm Z, and that over there,
I'm Chad.
yeah, also known as the Chad Ventures. So,
Also, venturing Chad, or the Chad. Oh,
venturing Chad.
That could work out. And yeah, maybe I should change my channel name.
You could use Chat GPT and brainstorm. That's what I do because Chat GPT kind of came along just in time for my old age because I can serve whatever part of my brain's missing. I could just get Chat GPT to do the other part. So
Yeah, I've AI extensively for work and homework and stuff, just because it's when you don't have anybody else to talk to and you need some ideas, man. You gotta...
yeah. I heard a really good meme. It says, I wanted AI to wash my dishes and do my laundry so I could do art and music instead of AI doing art and music so I can wash the dishes and do laundry.
Right, yeah.
I thought that was pretty good.
It is. And now, yeah, because you do the art and music with AI, and that makes you money.
And it's so bad. It's so bad.
It's like, is it actually original then, or is it all copyright under like one name, AI?
Well, the companies that have these various AIs. Some of the things I'm seeing is that the AI with whoever that has that company is claiming the copyright. Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah, all your thoughts are now mine. Copyright mine. Legally. That's insane, man. That's one step closer to dystopia, or more dystopian. More dystopian.
Yeah. I think you got that right. More dystopian. It couldn't be. Well, yes, it could be more dystopian. That's for sure. But dystopian are us. That's for sure. Are us. I'd like to complain how much time I waste trying to get the digital interface to behave. And I'd like to say that I know it's the interface, or I know that it's YouTube. But I'm not gonna. Yeah, no need. Secret, yo, Idritima. Hi, I'm New Aloha. Welcome, Jeremiah Vale. You look like the guy from Squid Games movie. I don't watch television or anything like that, so I'll assume it's just a wonderful compliment. Yuriichi, damn. Your family. Oh, yeah. And Jake Show 131. I will donate you $100 if you say no. No, you and I both know that you're just not telling the truth there. Now, don't you? Don't you? No, I ain't gonna do it. I get paid way more for that for voiceovers. So, yeah. Nah, not yours. Not your $100, and not for what you're asking for. In fact, anyway, I won't be mean. I'll start on a nice note. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start on a nice note. Man, getting sleep these days. Holy moly! As I've sort of let you know, I parked into a parking lot, one of the common ones, and Right, I was to lay my pretty head down to sleep. I'm like hearing all these big monster trucks rolling on up. And before I know it, it's like, 35 and counting. Just, oh, this is just a nightmare. Just a nightmare. And, what's interesting is the ineffectuality. I don't know if that's a word of the police when they say, well, we can't do anything about the drugged out people laying on the sidewalks and in front of the buildings because we're not allowed to wake them up. Yeah, there's a law that you're not allowed to wake up homeless people. But homeless people are allowed to wake you up. That's not right. And if you're, I guess, if you're a citizen, you're allowed to wake people up as well.
Yeah, there's a victory imbalance.
Yeah, imbalance is a nice word, isn't it? It's an awfully nice word. Yeah, listen. If there was listen, if you just do sticks and bricks, everything will be okay. Nuh-uh. No, because then you're trading one massive headache for in my opinion, a much bigger sustained headache, you know, of working for people you don't want to work for, doing jobs you don't want to do, being places you don't want to be. Man. But on a good note, I said I was going to start on a good note, so you could just ignore everything I just said. Boy, am I happy with my new channel design. Right before I did all this, I came up with a channel banner and a channel icon and a channel watermark. All right before doing this. And and all right before being tortured to death by the audio interface. Yeah. Yeah. I'm starting to know, all the people I know that do live streams, nobody uses like a microphone or any of that. No, nobody. Or well, the music channels do, but just normal bloggers and stuff. They don't bother with any of that stuff. Maybe there's a reason, you know. Uh, but you saw I did it. The last outside freak stream. It was being done.
Yeah, right. The New Year's Eve stream, right?
Yes, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
it took 5 tries, but it finally worked. The fact that it takes 5 tries is crazy. I was gonna be okay with it thinking that it was just YouTube. But at this particular juncture, the auxiliary input, well, obviously this as well, I can hear it on the headphones when it's all plugged in, but when I plug it in, even to just the video camera, if I'm recording directly to the camera, not to YouTube, it wasn't working then either. I'm like, just keep taking my money and sending me trash. That's what I want. That's what I want. I think that's how they're going to get rid of trash in the future. Is they're going to sell it to you as a desirable item, and then just send you trash. They'll form it into the item like a toaster yeah, and they'll form it into it, and then they send it to you. And
they kind of do that already, with
yeah,
the recycle.
yeah. I mean, this is this is literally thousands of dollars. Some people consider me homeless. I consider myself a poor person. Mm, how it's unconscionable. That's the word, unconscionable. What are you gonna do? What are we going to do? I tell you what I'm going to do once we're done this stream. I'm going to tweak out until the end of the evening to try to get it to work again. So that way, at least I could maybe send the Yamaha back because
I
I don't need to
wonder.
spend money.
I wonder if it has something to do with the co-stream, because on when you weren't co-streaming, it was working on the New Year's Eve stream. Hmm.
Well, not n- perhaps, but probably not because, like I said, it wasn't even working when I was just trying to make a video off the phone.
Hmm.
Wasn't even working. So that would have to be the interface, you know.
Oh.
It's so well, you've been with me this whole trip, you know. You've been with me. You've seen and I know stuff, right? As far as tech goes, who do you think Who do you and you're a tech guy too. You know a programming language. You do stuff with computers and stuff. Would you consider me your senior in the tech department? Or I'm not going to ask you that. You
for
should.
for for audio for audio tech for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
audio tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said that properly. Yes, because there's stuff that that I'm not hip to. Uh yeah,
Dang, there's a lot of
but as
theater to do, man. You know.
Yeah, there's a endless rainbow of stuff that you
Yeah.
could know on a computer that other people might not know. Uh, boy, oh boy, I am glad that I have been investing in non-internet, non-computer stuff because when this stuff finally breaks, I ain't getting any more. I'm just, so, uh, yeah, I don't know. It's like I said to you the other day or yesterday. When are we gonna nuke? When are the nukes coming? When? When? Putin, where are you, buddy? Vlad the Impaler, come on now.
I would be.
Vlad the Impaler, get to work. Start sending them nukes, damn it. I'm ready to see my face and the faces of everyone else melt. I'd like to see others melt before mine, just so I can see their faces melt before mine melts. Please, please. That's probably why it's not happening. When Putin said he's going to nuke the world, probably most of the world was going, "Do it, do it now, press that button." Like,
It
I
is
can't put up.
it is only a part of history that civilizations end up destroying themselves with misuse of technology or misunderstanding of nature. So there's that.
I know, but they've been threatening us with nukes like well before we were born. And I'm like, where is it? Where?
Just
Where? It's not fair that our grandparents got to see it, how come we don't get to see the nukes?
oh, we're a peaceful world now.
It is horrible. Man, how freaky it was last night to see a whole bunch of monster trucks with white guys in it playing rap music.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be.
huh?
I just there's some things I don't understand in the sociological demographic of certain parts of this country.
Yeah, and in our chat section as well. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
they're
It looks like
uh,
our chat section is pretty retarded.
yeah, this time it's pretty low IQ.
So I have gone back to all right, you go away. Just go away. Let me see. Yeah, I got to make sure not to press the wrong button or else I'd add them as a moderator. And there needs to be a button where you can just like get rid of them forever. Like go away, you're never coming back kind of a thing, you know? They
Yeah,
don't have that. They just have like a timeout, right?
I thought they had a you can I'm pretty sure you can ban a user from the channel. Let's go up to one of these other people that were kind of like, can I do it? Oh, right here. Oh, there's hide user on this channel. So I think hide user on this channel permits takes them away. Is that let's experiment with this person. Oh, yeah, they're gone. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So hide user on this channel, and then I guess they won't appear on the channel no more after that. So
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
yeah, I hope that guy
That
was still watching. I don't know. I mean, whenever chat makes demands, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go fuck
Whenever the
yourself.
chat makes demands, go fuck yourself. Okay, just that's just how it is. All right.
You $10,000 if you say give me. Yeah, all right. Here, let me. I'm going to try that. Yeah, we're going to spend most of this stream just getting rid of people.
It must be done. Must be done.
There we go. I think the rest of you seem like regular, normal, decent human beings. All right. So yeah, I've gone back to doing the video edits, and that's going to be a lot easier to deal with as far as you know, getting audio and music and all that.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Situated
yeah,
because
but I have, however, just decided to do regular like camera, face, phone. That's it, and then do real quick block editing, no fancy editing. Just throw all the clips up into the editing and program, and then just post it. So that's been the game plan. Uh, but of course, we don't know if we should even bother with doing anything if they're going to blow up the world.
yeah, I know. It's funny or sadistic or fucked up or something. It's along the lines of tragedy and comedy. um,
Yeah, yeah,
where you're growing up as you say you're like a kid, right? Let's just like rewind our age, I suppose, and be like, oh wow, what are you gonna be when you grow up? Oh, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that. Yeah, and these kids have no idea what's actually happening like around, like as far as political warfare, perhaps I should say. And
yeah,
it's kind of insane to think that people can grow up so oblivious in believing that they're gonna go into being something, and then all of a sudden, like another country drops bombs, and all their hopes are being now gone because they're dead. And it's fucked up. And
yeah.
that's wow, dude. Those are some beautiful clouds above you. Yo.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some footage of some of the more dramatic moving clouds to add to one of my music videos.
There's lenticular clouds that form out there, right? I mean, you got high enough
Oh
mountains, I
yes,
think.
oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, they do. They're pretty neat. A lot of the numbnuts claim that they're spaceships,
Yeah, I
UFOs.
mean, they look like a spaceship.
I knew about lenticular clouds when I was a child. A child. And you still hear people go, "Oh my God, did you see that? That's definitely aliens."
Yeah.
Listen, I think there should be only one allowance for stupid. Like, and that would be like religious belief. Like, don't
Right.
make fun of my God or my creator. It's like, okay, that's it. Only one.
Mhm.
Only one. Beyond that, if you say something stupid, we're calling you out, you dumb fucks.
Yeah, yeah. I think I had a cloud identification class in 4th grade.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you
I
literally go outside and you look at the clouds and you're like, okay, so that's a cumulonimbus. That's Cirrus. That's a stratospheric,
Nimbocumulus. Remember nimbocumulus?
your nimbocumos. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah.
I think I called them cumulus. Wait, is nimbocumulus the same as cumulonimbus?
Well, it's a combination of nimbus clouds and cumulus clouds.
Yeah, because a nimbus
Yeah.
cloud is like a little fluff. Like those look like stratospheric nimbus puffs above you.
Yeah. I'm not going to speak with any sort of authority on this stuff at this juncture in my life.
Are you like coffee?
No. I'm not doing too bad. I've only been doing 2 small cups of coffee in the morning and drinking lots of water with it. So I'm not doing too bad in that. Not doing the weed is giving me an amazing amount of energy. I'm getting a lot of stuff done by not smoking pot.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought, man? Well, here's the thing. I've tried to stop for years and years. I've been smoking since I was 8 years old. So, after some point, I was afraid that I'd just fall apart. That I was pretty much made of marijuana resin. Like that's what was holding it all together from the inside. But the main thing I've used marijuana for has been to quell the anger. I have two people, as most of us do. I have 2 people in me. One is a nice, congenial, entertaining sort of a guy. Then there's another guy in me. The antithesis of and he doesn't even talk. This other guy does. It's not even. He's not on speaking terms with the world. He's just wants to. "Mm, mm, mm, yeah, yeah. He's the action man. I got a message for the action man. I'm happy. Hope you're happy too. Yeah, there's me, and then there's the action man, and the action man. I don't like the action man. Can can get you put away. The action man can get you into a lot of trouble. The action man causes more work than you need. And I've always known this. So yeah, I've used it in that manner. And then of course after many years I've used it just to eat and sleep. So um there's an old saying, crisis or opportunity. The crisis, um the crisis or opportunity event that I'm talking about here is that every time I tried to stop weed, it was usually because I was sick. And like usually with a flu or a cold or something, right? But then once I got healthy, then I go, oh, okay, yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of marijuana. There's nothing wrong with, oh, yes, there is. You're going to just keep doing it habitually over and over again. Hey, the fat Muppet,
Hey,
aloha ohana. Yes. So, yeah, I've been substance abusing marijuana for sure. For sure. I'm saying it out loud, damn it. And it took more than just being sick with the flu. This time around, it's the brain. I've realized that my brain function is down, and that is intolerable. And uh, yeah, at this point I need everything I can get. So if I need to get the action man involved, so be it. you know. And the stories I've been telling you over the past week have been
right.
pretty much that, of me. And you know what? Come on in, buddy. Yeah, go ahead. Go, go, go do the stupid thing.
Go take action.
Face, go take action when you should just walk away, drive away. So, so, and they, there's a lot of advice when it comes to quitting marijuana or any substance abuse, which is, just go through the feeling, you know. So, but of course, going through the feeling can also accompany action, or reaction, more appropriately, you
Mm.
know. So there's that element. You can't just go, oh yeah, you just go through the emotion. Well, what about every time I go through that emotion, somebody gets hurt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what about that?
Mm.
So that yeah, I think you have to pair that with you know a lot of many people that suffer from substance abuse will allow themselves to be incarcerated just so that they can get away from whatever it is they're abusing,
Mm.
um yeah, let me see. I think the fat muppet says, I think the negative effects are due to the stigma of it affects how we view the effects of herb. Well, let me tell you something. You just happen to be talking to somebody that would be, I suppose, considered an absolute expert at marijuana consumption. And
Over
I can,
1,000 hours.
yeah, yeah, easily. How about 110,000 hours? Is that like? Have I lived that long? Uh, yeah, it's I mean, of course, to each his own. William S. Burroughs, I think, has written the most honest treatise on substance abuse. So, and it's a shame that most people in general, most people aren't familiar with the works of William S. Burroughs because it's really a hard read. His stuff is hard to read. He's a homosexual, and he writes graphically about sex acts, homosexual sex acts, and many grotesque acts and stuff. But the message that he was getting across, I think, um, I'm going to assume that at least a much better, substantial portion of the population understands the message. Perhaps it's been filtered through someone else. But that is substance abuse comes in any shape or form. I mean, you could be a substance abuse. I've said what my substance abuse was on my last video edit, and that is weed, which is last, coffee, which is second, and my number one substance abuse is milk and sugar. I mean, you could say weed, but I'm done weed. I can promise you that, right? I'll promise me that. I don't need to promise anybody that. I'm just simply done. Simply done. But the coffee and the milk and the sugar, now I'm working on those. And here's the thing, once I can cut the coffee, milk and sugar is not going to be an issue.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll maybe adopt another substance.
Heroin. Yeah, heroin, for sure. But what William S. Burroughs was had gotten across in a lot of his writings, or in many of his writings, was that substance abuse or addiction, it was called addiction back in the day. Yeah, like George Carlin says, they got to come up with new words now, He has a whole routine on that, how they like to change it.
Softer because people get so offended.
Yeah. So, but being an addict, man, you can be an addict of sex. Most people are an addict of foods, an addict of behaviors, even. So it's not even a substance.
Oh, yeah, addiction behaviors. Like, one of the biggest, and it stems from the song "I Am the Slime."
Yeah. The Fat Muppet says, "Don't you think alcohol be quit first?" Just asking. I quit alcohol a long time ago. And again, it's all individual, like we're talking about right now. You might not have any actual substance abuse. Maybe it's behaviors that you're addicted to, Um, essentially anything that just is out of balance and not serving you, not allowing you to be the best version of yourself that you can be while you're here on this planet, on this flat earth. That's a joke. That's a joke. That was a joke. To make that clear.
Just make that clear.
Yeah. Fat Muppet says milk and sugar is such a good combo. You could change it without the milk and honey.
Change it out with milk and honey.
Change it out with milk and honey, but we're still doing the milk. What are you talking about?
Maybe
what are you talking about?
Sugar swap instead of pure cane sugar or processed
Yeah,
sugar.
but milk is nasty, man. Here's the thing. I have been through these areas in Texas, and they're cow farms. And I've been through and also down the corridor, Route 5, I believe, in California as well. They have these cow farms, but the ones in Texas are the worst. Now, I'm not talking about the conditions. Of course, those are just horrendous for the cows, but the smell. In Texas, the smell was so horrific that I thought my eyes were literally watering, and I kept almost regurgitating, throwing up. It was so bad, so freaking bad. So milk is horrible, man. Sugar is horrible. Sugar was meant as a saline solution for people, for medical purposes.
Yeah.
Sugar, no good, no good. So that's why, and then coffee. Um, Coffee's not so bad if you can, just be like if you can do it the way Chad Ventures does it. Chad Ventures does 1 cup of coffee, he's good to go.
More.
If it could all be like Chad Ventures.
Yeah. Be like me, guys. Join
That's
me.
right. Yeah.
Eternal energy, coffeeless lifestyle. I don't know what I'm trying.
But stimulants and all that stuff, hey, everybody has their own path. There are some people, here's the thing. There are some people that don't have any problem with milk and sugar. There are some people that have no problem with cigarettes. There are some people that have no, or I knew a guy back in the day. He used to shoot cocaine, and he was an exec. I'm even gonna say it, he was an executive for the Space Needle in Seattle.
Word.
And he was a good friend, and I had no clue. He was a total dork, I just an office guy, but on the weekends he would shoot cocaine, and then by the time it was time to go back to work, he'd be good to go. You know, I know a guy. He used to be a good friend. He was shooting meth for I don't know, 40 years or something. Apparently, he just stopped. Now, here's the thing. How is it affecting your brain? Because there's another element to this. The body might be able to go the full count abusing stuff, right? But you won't know if your brain was affected. That's why I was trying to tell my buddy about meth. Uh, I'm like, you don't know, and you will not know to what extent your brain is being affected because, well, that's the thing you think with. That's how
Yeah.
you would know, is having a brain enough. And the thing is that's like the last thing people seem to care about.
I know.
I mean, nobody cares about the effects of the brain effects. As long as they look good. As long, in fact, dumbing down has sort of
It's
seemed
really the way to
to.
go these days in America. If you can get dumbed down, go out over there, get yourself a fine dumb lady, and you can be a fine dumb man. You both
And
can
you
be
can
dumber.
dumb it down. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you
So
dumber. Oh my gosh.
here, let me get rid of another one of these ass. What do you call them? Ass munchers or ass? Gosh.
um mm, I don't know what you call them. You can call them anything we want to, I suppose.
Yeah. I get some of this soup going. Yeah, man. And that's what I say to my friends that drink alcohol. I'm like, man, the thing about alcohol. Hey, Christopher Hitchens was an alcohol user,
Yeah, like all the
and yeah, and so
is right.
again, there are some people that do fine with it, but it catches up with you. For him, it was the opposite. Alcohol seemed to work pretty good for his brain, although we wouldn't know how well would he have done without the alcohol
Yeah.
with his intellect.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But he was still miles ahead of everyone. no one could ever say, "Hey, the alcohol is judging your," you know,
Yeah.
the common man. No one we know on the planet would be qualified to say such a thing. But we do know that he probably met an early demise through cancer,
Yeah.
and that the cancer and the cigarettes and whatnot.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
esophagus.
yeah. So if it doesn't get you one way, it can get you the other way. You know. So, boy, oh
God.
boy.
I If Christopher Hitchens were alive today, I'd love to hear what he has to say about fucking anything. Just
Well, the
out.
nice thing is he said it all.
Right.
He really did say it all before he checked out. You know.
He did.
Um. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the
The
the book Mortality. I don't know if you've ever read it. Maybe I could. Can I send a book to you? There.
Yeah, you could send it. You could send. Although yeah, no, you could send me. If it has to do with Hitchens, I would definitely read the thing.
Oh yeah, dude.
Um,
So it
yeah,
was the last book that he wrote before he died, and it's called Mortality, and he literally wrote it while he was taking when he found out and started taking his chemotherapy and stuff like that, and it's about that whole like, when it hit him until like, and you can see it in his writing, like near the end of the book, it's like patchy, like segmented, like kind of not like as flowed as you would normally link things together. It was like one-liners and statements and stuff like that.
yeah.
Is yeah, I'll go get the book. I think it's in storage, but it's a small book too. It's like 80 pages long or something like that. Just kind of
Oh
show
yeah,
like, and that kind of really signifies the haste of how he felt that he had to write it before he died.
yeah, yeah,
He's like, it's gonna be
yeah.
my last fucking book. Like, I need to
And
write.
he's also like, yeah, and let me write this for all the short attention span idiots out there, you know, such as myself.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about that book is that the history of his career is, if you know Christopher Hitchens, the history of career is essentially all into the historical events of religiousness and stuff like that, and challenging the beliefs and etc. And then even politicians and all that other jazz. But this time, it was about his own life approaching death, which was
Yeah,
like really interesting. And yeah, okay, I'm gonna get that book. I'm gonna send it.
very
I'll,
good.
I'll get your deets later. Uh, it's a good one, man. It
Well,
really is. I found it in Kailua at a random bookstore. I was like just going through. Oh, I wonder if they have anything by Christopher Hitchens. I go into the H aisle, right, and I'm like, there's like one sliver of a book, and I'm like, oh damn, what? More Christopher Hitchens, and then I bought it. Good shit.
one of the things that I wish I had sticks and bricks for is a book collection and album collection, because those are things that I have a lot of books, and I've got a lot of record albums, and I've gotten rid of most of them, but still have a lot of books and a lot of albums that I just can't part with. Like the original Zappa albums, the original releases of the first Zappa albums. I have those. I've got autographed albums. I think I actually got rid of my autographed uh, Rush albums. You know,
Mhm.
and back in the day, you would buy the album, and then you would go to the show, and then you would stick your ticket in the album to show that you went to that you went to that show, you know. So I had a lot of those and whatnot. But the books, especially now, because well, both with books and records, people give them away. You know,
Yeah,
I'm picking up books all the time. They're just left
dude, they're like,
behind. You know,
no, dude, books and albums are like pastimes now because everything's so digital. You know, everything's in the cloud. You just,
yeah, yeah.
but then, once that cloud is gone and you get weed, then all of your shit's gone, and then you don't
Yeah,
have
and
a
you got
place.
to pay. You got to pay for that cloud. So,
Yeah, you gotta pay for
you know,
that
I mean,
cloud.
just on that level alone, that who you don't know if you're going to have money all the time. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Some people are lucky to never have to think about it. And
Well, who would they be?
hmm.
I mean, some people don't have to think about it, but they're
I
not
had a,
lucky enough to think about it.
I, I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine about how after you make so much money, the money no longer matters and it's all about time. And I thought about it and I was like, hmm. I mean that kind of makes sense because I mean if you're incredibly wealthy, you know, the travel costs to get to where you have to be on time doesn't really matter, but you have to freaking be there on time no matter what. So, but I mean once you're so wealthy it doesn't, yeah, you don't really think about it because you just have to be where in that time and
Yeah.
space that time. And yeah, so yeah, there's that. But
Well, let me share something with you that sort of is contraposed to what you're saying.
hmm,
Um, you know, I've been in and out of money throughout my life. I've been um, involved with people that were quite wealthy,
yeah,
and the one thing that came to understand after the breakup
yeah,
was that everyone is, it doesn't matter how rich or poor you are now, everyone has the same issue that they have to deal with, you know, and it's pretty profound. And that is, you know, in many ways you could say that money is even more challenging because it allows you to not deal with what you need to deal with, you know. um the, uh, in fact, very much so, I find that money, even small amounts of money, will allow you to not have to worry about things or do things, you know. um there's an old saying, or I'm not going to say an old saying, there's a saying that I heard, which is fetch the water, chop the wood. And what that means is it doesn't matter if you can hire somebody to do it. You need to fetch your own water. You need to chop your own wood because it's not the end product, it's the actual doing where you get the benefit. The firewood is not the benefit. The water is not the benefit. It's the procuring of those things
the
that,
the procuring.
yeah, which there's a little bit of a kind of a thing going on there because people are constantly wanting more and more and more, not realizing that they're not trying to get stuff. They're just addicted to the process of getting the
Of more.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and of course, the lesson, well, that's obvious. Stop shitting where you eat
Hmm.
because that would be indicative of somebody that's not going to get up off their ass and go to the stream to get the water and go to the woods to get the wood, so to speak. Yeah, you're just going to go ahead and do it all in one place, you know, sticks and bricks, perhaps. And this is problematic. This is hugely problematic, you know. Um, the world that we live in now is a world where people have gotten away with not doing the work, with not doing the thing, like me, not stopping the marijuana, you know, and the coffee and the milk and sugar. Now I mean, I must be slated to die soon because I'm learning so much, man. There's so much that's coming to me. It's hard to even communicate, you know.
Mm.
But one of the things I'm noticing is like I'm like, whenever I have this thing where I need to make some coffee. No, you don't. You got a list. Go look at your list. Is there drinking coffee and smoking weed on that fucking list? No, it isn't. It's not on the list, you know? And so when I get that sort of that hankering to do any of these things, I have at least a little switch where I go, no, do what you need to do. Oh, you don't want to do those things? Well, great. Train, meditate, sleep, you know? There's so Are you frozen? I think you're frozen. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Okay, the fat muppet, being lazy conserves energy. You know, if you're in Hawaii, then this conversation is almost like anti-Hawaiian because Hawaii is definitely one of those places where you gotta slow it down. So I'm hoping Chad Ventures can come back into the fold here. While we've been cooking, I've been making some. There we go. But yeah, there we go. Woo.
Am I back? My phone overheated somehow, and it might happen again. Just a heads.
I can hear you, but you are frozen. Your screen's frozen, whatnot. I thought the fat Muppet was from Hawaii. He's asking, do you speak Hawaiian? And are you guys from Hawaii? Yeah, yeah. Well, sort of. Yeah, I'm from my mother. Mm. Oh my God. Well, isn't that crazy that you can't do a stream? You got an iPhone, so you know. Yeah, I've had my phone give me a overheating warning as I'm sitting in the cold and charging it. It says, "Oh, it's overheated," and it shuts down or whatever. You live in Colorado. How could it possibly be too hot on any level? You know,
Uh,
man.
I surf the snow, bro. Oh, actually, I gotta share with you. Yesterday, I went on my first backcountry tour with Splitboard. Yeah,
Bro, we are ridiculously on the same wavelength. Yesterday, I was at the skate park, and an old guy who was ripping it. He was like 50 some years old. He looked older than me, but he was only 50 something. And he was ripping, like
yeah.
uh 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 yeah, axle grinds, stalls, the whole 9 yards.
Damn.
And then he came up and talked to me, and so I started talking about you. And I was like, yeah, a buddy of mine, he snowboards. He's not as much of a skater, but more of a snowboarder. And I haven't really done a lot of snowboarding, but I'm he and I are gonna be getting split boards next year, and we're gonna do a thing together next year,
Yeah.
and here you are. And I also was thinking, I bet you he's out there. I bet you he's out there. Sure enough, man. Sure enough. That is freaky.
Yeah.
That is freaky.
I was able. My roommate is the like the ski tech manager at one of the stores up in Crested Butte. So he was like, "Yeah, dude, just come by and I'll let you rent gear for free." And I was like, "Yo, okay then." So
Man.
rent got the split board for free, probe, beacon, shovel, and then little ski things. A split board is a snowboard split in two, so that way you can split it down the middle and use it to cross country up to your downhill descent, or
Yeah.
your summit into downhill descent, I should say.
So it's both skis and a snowboard.
Yeah.
Eh, Which is funny. When they first came out, I was thinking, man, those things, they couldn't possibly be any good. It's a compromise.
Mhm.
Um, but they've been around for a long time now, and everyone seems to love them. No one's ever said, "Yeah, you just get a snowboard or get," no one
Yeah.
said that. So, um,
It's interesting though, because the split board culture is like kind of like cross country ski uphill and then ski down, right? But then there's also like the guys that will just bring their snowboard, not even a split board, and they'll just attach it to their back and walk up with snowshoes, and then stick the
yeah,
snowshoes
right.
and then go down on the regular board. So it's like I think there's different ways to go about it, but the split
Hmm.
is definitely the most expensive setup because you need your avalanche gear, which is really incredibly important. It's like checking the surf conditions and weather conditions every day. It's like something
Hmm.
of.
And a beacon too.
Yeah, I gotta have the beacon. Yeah, I gotta have the beacon.
Hmm. Hmm.
So the place that we went to is Snodgrass, which is a place close, further up from Crested Butte towards Gothic, and it was a really mellow area. I don't think there's a couple slopes that were more than 30 degrees, but for the most part, like we just stayed in vegetation in the trees and stuff, and just tree it so that we didn't worry about avalanche at all. That was good. And it's
Wow.
like a pretty chill area too. Like it's not that bad. But damn, dude, with my hip flexors sore, yo, oh,
I bet. Now, were you putting skins on the skis and going up with skins?
yes, yes. I
Okay.
not have done it without it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I assume so, but
Yeah.
um, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
I got the skin set up too. That was part of the rental gear. Part of the rental gear. So
Mhm.
I was super stoked, and just doing it. I really like the aspect of it, man. Like it's like you're going on a snow hike, a winter hike, and then like instead of hiking down afterwards, you fucking ride down, man. That's bad. I dig that.
And fresh snow.
Yeah, dude. We had all our own lines. Like,
Yeah,
it was
that's
so.
so nice, man. Well, I'm jealous as can be and happy for you at the same time.
Nah,
um,
dude, we're gonna have the time. It will happen. You know, I'm like, this is my last year, my last stretch in for my bachelor's in geoscience, and I'm like after this, it's like, now what? You know what I mean? It's like this is like one of the heavy priorities in my life right now that's consuming like the most of my time, and
mhm,
pretty soon it's going to be done. It's like reaching your achievement, and then now what? So
yeah,
it's ugh. I do want to do a N.O.L.S course, the Rocky Mountain N.O.L S course. I think that would be kind of cool.
if you can do it. I although it was the 80s when I did it, so I don't know if it's
Right.
how much it's the same thing, you know.
Hmm.
When we did it, we had death.
Oh,
people
man.
people were dying, you know,
Yeah.
or being evacuated, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm sure they probably made it a little bit more safer. Um, but Fat Muppet says, "Do you surf?" I have surfed, but I would be lying to you to call myself a surfer. But I have surfed a lot. I would say I have been surfed by waves more than
I've been
say that I have
surfed.
surfed. Um, but Chad here is definitely could consider himself a surfer,
Yeah,
and
I've
has
surfed a
surfed.
long time in my life. I
Yeah.
lifeguarded the south shores of Oahu, of Hawaii, Honolulu, Waikiki, Ala Moana Beach Park, and I've surfed before then, surfed after then, and now I snow surf. I
Now here
Yeah.
you just heard him. Now listen to me brag. Oh yeah, bro. I used to surf the North Shore. So
I surf no shore, bro. Hold on, where no shore? Where you surf no shore?
no, no,
Well,
no,
I'm
no,
back.
no. I'm just saying. I didn't have to say it that way, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I surfed the North Shore, and then you mentioned all these like East Side waves, South Shore waves, rather, right? I go, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I used to surf North Shore, but again, I used to just get pulverized on the North Shore. I had no right being in 16-foot waves on the North Shore. Yeah, and Chad is a legit surfer. Uh,
I
uh,
think that was the largest wave I've ever surfed. Was like maybe a 16 or 18-foot face,
yeah.
something between there. I was not on the right size board, dude. I was like on a 6'1" thruster,
Oh, jeez.
but I made it.
Oh man, you
I was
made it!
young. Yeah,
Holy
I was
man,
young, dude.
were you touching the water at all?
Brother. I mean, nowadays, because that was prior Wing Chun, and nowadays when I think about it, I had a lot of Wing Chun stancing in my surfing, because you got to have your weight center, and by pushing your knees together, that like almost like creates that postured weight, from head to your knees, like, and then just
Mhm.
getting low, man. Sometimes you got to get low, because if you're like too leg locked, then you just bounce with the chop.
Right, right. Um, there's a little secret that I learned from Skate IQ. I think he's my favorite guy to learn from. Skate IQ. Um, and he had said that when you're doing transition and doing stuff like that, you focus on the center of the board.
Mm.
And ever since I've been doing that, I don't even think about vert now. I mean, I'm not messing with the coping quite yet, but like rock to faking and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
it makes a lot of sense too, because like that's like something I thought about snowboarding because you know, being a surfer and a skater, first, all the weight's on the back foot, right?
mhm,
And that's kind of not where you want to be. And since you're on an incline, you definitely don't want all your weight on the back foot. Doesn't make sense
yeah, yeah,
unless you're going really, 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 really fast and you got to hold that edge. But but when it comes to like the stability, it's like a lot of focus to centering the weight over the board, not too far back, not
right,
behind, maybe a little like in between, but never like fully committed on one side unless you're doing some kind of crazy butter. Then that's tricking though. That's tricking.
yeah,
But for the whole balance part and just like understanding the center of gravity to the surface below you, it's almost like trying to maintain a parallel at all times,
hmm,
if that makes
yeah,
sense. Yeah,
yeah. It
yeah,
does totally make sense. The And I confirm that by looking at some of my video of me skating, and I notice my center of gravity is way too forward, like when I'm dropping in, way too forward because I'm afraid to slip out. I would rather hurl than slip out, right?
yeah.
And and so I indeed hurl when I'm trying to drop in off the coping. So yeah, the fat Muppet is. Do you guys notice a lot of weird stuff going on in your neighborhood? Yeah, weird stuff. Are you kidding? The
All the
nation,
time.
everywhere, everything. I mean, it's just
Insane.
it's retardo land right now.
It's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah. And then the fat
What a
Muppet
start to the
says,
new year.
"Old guys are just boys who have been around longer." Well, I guess, yeah, yeah. Uh, Certainly me. Mhm.
uh, I know I look young these days, but I'm starting to feel old. I
Well,
think part of it is because I room with 20-year-olds or like 20 right, you know, like uh,
um, mm, I gotta finish chewing before I decide to talk. I actually will have to push back a little on that. Um, I notice, I didn't grow up until my 40s. I didn't become a man until my 40s, and I'm noticing that this is pretty common that guys just aren't growing up. They're not being men.
yeah.
Um, and So you may be thinking that for a long time. There's also another bit of information here. I heard that there are two periods when we age. Apparently, it's like, I don't know, like 20s or something. I forget what the early age is. But the other aging period is in your 60s. So
Hmm.
it I kind of chuckle when
Huh.
you refer to yourself, as an older,
Yeah.
as being old,
Right. Yeah. I can
because
see that.
first of all, I hear that a lot, especially from 30 somethings. And I used to do that all the time too. I was like, when I was 30, I looked like I was still like a teen or in my young 20s.
Yeah.
And I would just go around. Well, the thing is you don't age for after your 20s or something. You don't age. You fit biologically really don't change much until you get into your 60s. And boy, that's true. It is.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, and I'm feeling it, man. I am absolutely. I denied the aging stuff in my 50s because I could. I was still pretty virulent in my 50s.
Yeah, you're pretty spry. Yeah.
Yeah. But
That's
now
when you
in
were
my
training.
and the funny thing is here in my 60s, people people go, "Oh my god, well you know, I skate and I do all this stuff, you know." Um but now you don't understand. I was way better. I mean, compared to what I was, I'm really, yeah, not doing too good.
Yeah.
And I say that to the doctors too. The doctors, they check me out. They're like, "You're doing great." I'm like, "No, no, no." Like the woman, what I did a checkup like last month, and the doctor puts the fingers out and says, "Squeeze my fingers," and I squeeze them, and she says, "Oh, okay, very good." I'm like, "No, it isn't." She goes, "What do you mean?" I says, "Your fingers aren't broken." I says, "You don't understand. Up until recently, if I squeezed your fingers, they'd be broken."
Yeah.
Now, no. Fizz, hello, welcome,
Hey,
Fizz. Good to
Fizz.
see you. Happy New Year. Happy what? Hanukkah or Christmas or whatever it is that you do over there, Fizz. How you
Yeah.
doing?
Happy days. Yeah, happy
Right.
days.
Um. Yeah, I can't believe how long I'm sick. I'm definitely sick with one of these diseases that are out. These viruses, you know, because
Oh
I've been
no.
sick for a long time now, and uh
Ouch.
yeah.
How long? How
Like a
long now? Like two? Is that 2 weeks
It feels like longer than
or
2 weeks,
or
actually.
longer?
Yeah,
3.
I'd say it's almost a month.
You
Yeah.
know, I've had something like that before. I mean, I don't think it lasted a month, but like getting the phlegm out of my lungs took like 3 weeks one time, and I was just
Mm.
like, wow, I can't fucking sing, or I can't sing. Like I can't hit any of the notes that are my higher notes. You know, it was ugh.
Yeah, yes, well,
But are you still having like symptoms though, like gnarly symptoms, not just like coughing out the phlegm, but like symptomatic, symptomatic.
what does that mean?
I don't know. You still have symptoms that aren't just coughing phlegm
Yeah,
out of your
multiple
lungs.
symptoms.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, hard to breathe when I skate. I can only skate maybe a minute to 3 minutes at a time before I have to like.
Dude, I tell
um,
you, man, just you saying that. So, right, the backcountry tour yesterday, I'd never, cross country uphill before.
oh, that's a
Brother,
workout.
I was huffing hard, like huffing hard to the point to where my lungs did not feel large. Like my lungs are pretty big, and when I inhale, I can like really expand them. When I was walking up that thing, I could like barely, like halfway expand my lungs to their full potential as they usually could.
Mm, mm.
And some of that makes me wonder if it was the amount of
Oh,
probably
probably,
resin within my
probably.
you know.
Pretty much like as a skater, professional medical practitioner. Yeah, yeah, I would say without a doubt.
Do you believe skaters qualify as professional medical right now? Yes, because we don't go to the hospital, we just
Yeah.
Google it.
Oh, well, that's the thing. Um, Over the past few days of skating, I've been eating it so hard, hurling from dropping in, bashing into like the 6 foot, 300 pound guy, dorking around
Gosh.
on his scooter. I saw him like running, almost plow into three more people after he plowed into me. I'm like, get this idiot out of here, you know?
Wow.
And he's not
What
even
the
like he's just like scooting around, not like making eye contact, not saying hi to anybody, just a big,
Just like in his own world, like nobody else exists, so he's not paying
yeah.
attention to the foot traffic or the
I'm like,
skate
man,
traffic,
get out. And
rather.
he couldn't do anything. He was like a 4-year-old. Dirt, dirt, dirt.
Gosh, what a
Yeah.
kook.
So, and congratulations on your Christmas dragon, Fizz. I did see that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Now back to what we're talking about, where everyone in all sectors are feeling the same pressure. It used to be that if you got rich, you had money, then
Right, that's right.
you could buy yourself out of the woes of the common people. And
Mm-hmm.
I have noticed that that is just simply no longer true. It might be true of like, I don't know. I would say millionaire, but I've been around those. Um,
Yeah,
so maybe trillionaires, but or billionaires, maybe billionaires rather.
maybe
Maybe
billion.
billionaires, but I don't think so. Look at Elon, look at Zuckerberg, look at these guys.
Right.
They are still living within that same paradigm of suffering as the common people these days. They probably don't.
Right.
They probably can delude themselves with their money to think otherwise. And like I was saying, I think that's the nice thing about not having money is you can't be deluded at all. I am not delusional in the least bit. I can't afford delusion,
Mhm.
you know. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, okay. And to that effect, I saw a video. You know the guy Ice T. He's sort of like the black rapper. He was the one that wrote.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've heard of him.
Yeah, I think he was the one that wrote "Fuck the Police," kind of that song "Fuck the Police" back in the day.
Okay.
Well, he is one of the stars on that TV show Law and Order,
Mm.
and or was. I have no idea if these shows even exist anymore. But he was a star on that. I just saw a video that was posted today. He was in New Jersey, got pulled over by a cop, and the cop apparently didn't know or care who he was. And yeah, and he's a black man. He's a
Mhm.
rapper kind of. His whole persona is the hood, right? He's the hood. So
Yeah.
and he's riding around on his Porsche. He's driving to the DMV so he can renew his so he can get his registration and renew his license and all that. And the cop is about to he's harassing him, and he's like being the usual idiot cop, not
Yeah.
doing things right, not doing things respectfully, just
Hmm.
flaunting his power, right? um I think he requested that he have the supervisor, because if you're having a problem with a cop, then you can request that the supervisor, or insist, I don't know, that you have the supervisor come out.
Yeah.
The supervisor did not, only made sure he just did his job. So the supervisor was trying to say, or what do you got here? So, well, I've got him on multiple infractions, blah 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 blah. No license, no registration, expired driver's license, no tags on the front. I can't believe I remembered those four. Yeah, and the supervisor is saying because this is all on the Max on cameras, could you knock it down to just 2 tickets? And he's there, nope. There's four. And so he's like, all right. So,
Mhm.
and Ice-T, he can afford to pay tickets. He just didn't
Yeah.
want to go through the indignance of the cop, and being treated that way. So,
Right.
now, a guy that wrote "Fuck the Police" and a guy that's, he's a Hollywood star. I don't have all that much sympathy for him, you know.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, there was a line that was crossed by the cop.
Mhm.
Um, Again, leading credence to it doesn't matter what level you're on. Everyone's having the same issues. We have a hiring issue. If there's a hiring issue, then you're going to have bad people doing bad jobs, doing
Yeah.
horrible jobs, and nobody's going to do anything about it. Well, because their supervisor sucks or has no power to do anything about it because they need somebody to fill that position, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's really something. There was something else I wanted to tie in with that, but I lost it.
Um, yeah, it being yeah, even if you're really wealthy, you can still suffer from the same issues that us common folk may have. And even more so, you may even have even bigger issues just because of who you are, being a name to fame. And with all that happening, I mean, how many, celebrities have had, past, whatever sexual confrontations come out and be like, oh, well, but he raped me, and then it was like either falsified or he actually did, or stuff like that,
Yeah,
right? It's like, oh, you have a lot of money now and you're famous, now you're just like, another person what is
extorted.
we extorted, thank you, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. Um, I remember the tie-in. The tie-in is this. There's a Nomad channel called GLOW, Glorious Life on Wheels, and it's an elder.
Glorious Life on
Yeah,
Wheels.
and it's an
Nice.
elderly black woman that she used to be a police officer, and she's now a nomad and whatnot. And I don't really watch a lot of her stuff, but I drop in every now and then and see what she's got to say. And
She it sounds like she'd have an interesting perspective.
yeah, I kind of like her. Although I don't watch her as much, I definitely like her more than any of the other Nomad channels, you know?
Mm.
And I like her because she's not out there, all positive, 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 and now our sponsors and positive, sell, sell,
Right,
sell, and
yeah.
now our sponsors.
Yeah.
And that's why I respect her and like her. She probably I'm not sure of this, but she probably got a good amount of exposure from being on Bob Wells' Cheap RV Living show. I
Hmm.
was on his show as well, but I'm a man and I'm an unruly outside freak. So yeah, they liked me and Bob Wells, but when they apparently when they went to my channel, they didn't want to have anything to do with me. So no problem.
Yeah.
Um, but I
You
think
can't
she.
handle the truth. No, no, no.
And the thing is once you get to 1,000, I think it's a lot easier to keep. That gives you a certain amount of momentum. So
Right.
I've still to this day, I haven't gotten to 1,000. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Um, but Glorious Life on Wheels, she had her latest video was about going to the Social Security office and trying to straighten out the things with Social Security.
Mm.
And I was amazed how, again, she was an ex-officer,
Right.
whatnot. So she's not like my kind of nomad, which is I'm like more of the homeless nomad kind of guy. She's more of the
retired nomad,
retired nomad. Right. Very
nomad.
good.
Yeah, retired
Very
nomad.
good. And she was talking about the horrible experience she had dealing with Social Security. And this is what happened. She had a problem with the worker that she was with, which, by the way, isn't actually a worker. I found out those people at the desks that are getting all your information, doing all this stuff, they're not workers. And you'll never see a worker unless, like, you insist on one, and even then, you might not ever see a worker. All right. But she did ask to see the supervisor because she was just getting nowhere with this particular worker, or whatever she was, whatever it was. The supervisor comes out and says, "So what seems to be the problem?" Right? She told him what the problem was, and this person said back to her, "Oh, you must have pissed somebody off."
What?
Now, I know for sure I pissed people off because I had to be escorted out by security.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I pissed them off, and that's why they're screwing me, and have screwed me, and screwed me hard. But I just thought it was me. Now she's also a colored, so it might have to also be have to do with her skin color. But as an ex-officer, she was probably just being very diligent, as I am. That's where I get in trouble. I'm not giving them a hard time. I'm being diligent. I'm saying, and I'm pushing back. I'm like, no, you know?
Directly diligent.
Yeah. Why are you pissing people off, sir? Well, mostly because people like you exist. There we go. Not anymore. Not on this screen. So, yeah, man. So again, the hiring. I've been talking about this. Been mentioning it for a while, since COVID, for sure.
Yeah.
That this hiring problem, this hiring crisis, is a real crisis. It's because we haven't transitioned into any other way of doing things. It's not like you can stop doing things the way we do them. There's got to be a transition. There's got to be something that takes one system's place, and nothing has been put into place. So the fact that we have a hiring issue, a crisis, is huge, and at the heart is the very root of what is going on right now. Just imagine you want to go to the hospital, but everybody's inept. You want to see a doctor, but the doctors are inept. You want to see. I have a spot on my glasses. You can even see it.
I can see it.
Yeah, you can totally see it.
Yeah,
I went to the eye doctors, and I said, "Listen, I'm kind of getting dizzy and stuff, and there's this thing. It's kind of obstructing my reading. I especially notice when I'm reading, I start getting dizzy and stuff." This eye doctor, it's a woman, Chinese woman. She's arguing with me. I'm like, huh? She's there. Now, explain exactly, because I just don't. I'm like, what do you mean explain exactly? It's obstructing. She looks at him and say, "Nah, that's not bad." And so then, like, without my glasses, I'm asked her, like, like, look at a piece of paper to, like, not the eye check, like, just, the hours or something. The hours I'm looking at, like, oh, boy, my vision's pretty bad. I can't see that without my glass. She goes, "Your vision's not that bad." Huh? I can't read or see small things or even without them. What do you mean it's not that bad? It's bad enough. I'm like,
Yeah,
and
exactly. It's
this
bad
needs,
enough.
I need to get that off of there. So she's looking at the other smudges, right? And I'm like, and she's there, well, you need to clean your glasses. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
You think, yeah, it's like, you do think I not clean my glasses? Like,
yeah, I know that. But since I've been here and taking them on and off, they've been getting smudged. And I'm like, but that one smudge there, it ain't coming off. I've tried everything. I've tried soap and everything. It isn't coming off. She's there. Well, it's fine. You know, so she wouldn't process them to be, to return for the, because they're, I'm like, wow.
because they're inept.
I'm like, wow. So I bought these. These aren't a free pair of glasses. I bought these and they have a warranty. She refused to warranty them to get a new pair.
Isn't that illegal?
I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So my doctor, I haven't seen him. I've just decided to say, nah, no, no. I don't need to, because what they do is they go, well, I'm going to, and this is what they've done. They prescribe stuff and they go, okay, I have a prescription for you. I'm like, is that a free prescription? Well, no, it might be discounted. I'm like, no, I don't need it. If it's free, I'll take it. I probably won't use it, but if it's free, I'll take it. Maybe I'll try it out of desperation somewhere along the line. But no, I'm not even. She lied to me. She says, "Well, because my eyes have been watering." She says, "Well, let me prescribe some eye drops for you." I'm like, "Are they free?" She says, "Oh, well, they're only like $5." I'm like, "No, I don't want them. It's
Yep.
only $5." I'm like,
I,
I'm homeless. I'm broke. Five
actually,
bucks is food. What are you talking about? So she said, well,
yeah,
if you ever want that. So anyway, my eyes have been so bad that sometimes I can't even see for a while. I have to close them and wait or something, right? So finally I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go get some drops. So I go to Walmart and all the drops are like 10, $20. I'm like, what? Since
that's
when did
insane.
eye drops start costing so much? Just regular eye drops, right? So I'm like, all right,
Mhm.
I'll go to the doctor's and go get the eye drops. So I go to the eye and okay, well, these are just over the counter. I'm like, I'm sorry. Would you explain to me what over the counter means? You know, you could just go to the store and buy them yourself. I'm like, well, over the counter doesn't sound like that. You know that, right? Over the counter means you had to like reach over a counter to get them over the counter. Why are you calling them over the counter? Why do you use that term? I didn't go there. I was just like,
Yeah.
I just played stupid. Like, what does over the counter mean? They must think I'm an absolute moron, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Oh gosh, yeah. Sometimes you gotta dumb down to their level just so that you can
Right.
fucking get the information you need.
Yeah. So anyway, remember the doctor said, "Oh, they're $5," right? So
Yeah.
so I go to the pharmacy within the clinic right there because they have a built-in pharmacy, and I go to get the thing fulfilled, and there's this long-haired, crusty, fat guy. It's like, okay, next, can I help you? Like, yeah, here to fill a prescription. And he's like, all right, these is just over the counter. Like, okay. um, can I get them here? Oh yeah, you can. I'm like, okay. Then can I get them? How much are they? Yeah, that'll be $15. Like,
What?
oh, are you freaking kidding me? 15. Really? $15 for eye drops. Over the counter eye drops. And I've got like all the poor person stuff, but there's still 50. I'm showing them all my like things like, will any of this stuff get me this like for free or discounted? No. Like, oh my God, I'm going to waste too much gas money trying to buy freaking eye drops. So I'm like, okay, I'll take them. Here's the money. Is there, all right, well, take a seat. We have to fulfill the prescription. I'm like, you're over the counter, but you have to fill the, okay, I'll be right over there. I'm sitting right in front of the window that I just went to. Okay.
Mm.
Oh, and by the way, the first thing he says is, yeah, okay, I need to see your ID. I'm like, but it's over the counter, and here's my prescription. Is there? Still need to see your ID. Okay, here's my ID. The ID. So anyway, he's all right. You go take a seat, and I'll go. So I'm like, how long is this going to take? He's like, no. And there's a woman in there hearing this all go down. She's obviously been through this, and she says, it's right here. It'll just take a quick moment, no more a few minutes. I'm like, oh, there's Lisa, there's a human being back there. Okay, great. So I'm sitting there. He calls my name. I go up to the counter. He says, let me see your ID. I just gave you my ID. Is there? Yeah, but you walked away from the counter.
Dude, there are some.
Oh, hold on. I got to finish the story. It hasn't even finished yet.
Gosh, okay, I'm climaxing in my head right now.
Don't prematurely. So I'm like, are you kidding me? So okay, I gotta show you my ID. Okay, here's my ID again. There it is. There's my ID again. There you go. Put it away. So he says, okay, now sign, the little thing, you have to read it and sign. And it says, have you been offered instruction on how to use this medication? Well, no. No, you haven't offered. Is there, well, would you like me to offer? I'm like, you're asking me if I have been offered, and I have to say yes in order to get this over-the-counter medication. And I have to say yes. And so you're asking me to lie and say, yeah, I've been offered. Yeah, I have. I'm like, and so now I'm really holding them. I'm like, listen, buddy. You're going to be all on the, all to the letter of the law here with me. So now I'm throwing it back at you. No, you haven't. You haven't given me any instruction on how to use these. You haven't given me a printout. Would you like a printout? Yes, I'd like a printout. All right, then hit that. I'm like, no, you have to hand me the printout first. Then I'll hit it. So then the woman is hearing this. She like, here, it's right here. I'm like, oh my God. Then there's another screen that says, have you whatever. I'm like, no, I haven't. Holy shit, bro. Holy. I'm like, so I can understand that he's got to follow procedure. But then he's not going to follow procedure when it comes to me, right? Like, yeah, I haven't given you any of that stuff. Just say yeah. Doesn't matter. It's just, it's just procedure. Yeah, well, if it's just procedure, then go fuck yourself, asshole. Holy shit, man. So this world we're living in is a world of now, and I've been saying this, it's not about money anymore. It's about a sense of authority. It's about pretending that you have some form of agency. It's not about the money.
Mm.
And I don't know if because I've said this to somebody and they just didn't get it. They're a pretty smart person, but they didn't get it. And I'm not, I suppose if I worked hard, I could write a book and use a lot of. All right, here we go. 1, 2.
I'm here.
There we go.
1, 2,
Okay.
check.
Yeah. um, it's not about the money anymore. I could write a book about it, but it's not. It's just not worth it. It's not about the money. I notice a lot of the things that I say that are true. Even smart people don't get it because I don't use enough words to really pinpoint and clarify what I mean. Like, go fuck yourself. You don't know what the fuck I mean, then go fuck off. You know, um, it's not about the
Perhaps
money.
that Richard Feynman perhaps that Richard Feynman thing works both ways. You should be able to explain it, or you should know it well enough to be able to explain it to a
Yeah, to
toddler.
understand it, to comprehend it.
But if you're the one receiving the toddler explanation, and you're smart enough to know it, but you can't connect the dots of the analogy, then
Yes, yes,
then
very
you
good,
probably don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
very good. Yes, we'll call that a two-way Feynman street. Uh,
Feynman,
yeah,
yeah.
a two-way Feynman. Yeah, man, it's so true. But this is something that I I I hope can be understood, or I hope that I can maybe come up with some better words to explain it. But people are
Mm.
saying, well, if I get this job, I'll have X amount of money. Or if I had X amount of money, I'd live comfortable. I don't need a lot. I just need X amount of money and it's just not true. Okay. It's not true. What people are working for is a sense of agency, a sense of authority, because we're living in a world, and we've lived in a world where we think we have freedom of choice. What does Sam Harris call that? The uh, uh, you know when you know what I'm trying to say, right?
You what is it? You don't have freedom of choice. You have um. hmm.
I
I
can't
think
believe
I think it's a one-liner. You don't have freedom of choice.
no.
I know. I swear we watched that Sam Harris uh, little monologue or skit or whatever he is.
Yeah, but anyway, I can't believe I'm having this brain. Yes, I can believe I'm having this brain fart. But freedom of choice. It's not called freedom of choice. That's what the Devo song is. Freedom of choice. It's what we want. Um, Agency. That's not the word, but it's getting closer. But he wrote a whole book on it. He wrote a whole. It's the title of the book. Anyway, God damn it. Uh, yeah, we think that for a long time, people thought that they had agency, that they could actually think. And it turns out that we've learned more and more through neuroscience that we don't think. We aren't the thinker of our thoughts.
I'm looking up Sam Harris's Free Will.
Free will. There it is. That's it.
Free will.
That's the word. Thank you so much. That really helped the brain aneurysm. Yeah, that really helped. Free will. Yeah. And the big argument is like free will. Do we have free will? You know, and people like to say, even intellects feel that we have free will. Some say we don't have free will. Um, Sam Harris is absolutely true on this because I've been following the science on this, the neuroscience on this,
Mhm.
and it's quite clear that w- we come up with what we're going to do first and then tell the brain. And it's a great mystery in neuroscience as to who is the thinker of our thoughts. Sam doesn't have the answers, but he knows
Mm.
what the question is who is the
Right.
thinker of our thoughts? Because our AKG or whatever the things that measure the brain stuff, we're measuring the brain activity that does the thing before the brain knows it. They did it with a monkey um,
Mm.
where they're looking at the brain activity of the monkey before the monkey would pick up the banana. And so they realized
Mm.
that the brain activity happened before the monkey uh, um, before the monkey knew to do it. And so that was where they started with that whole thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So there is no free thought. This kind of ties in with Wing Chun, oddly enough, and the whole concept of muscle memory. The
Mm.
concept of our whole body actually is telling us what to do. Think about it. We think that we're the thinker of our thoughts. Do we really tell ourselves that we're hungry and then get hungry? No, we get hungry. Our hunger tells us we're hungry,
And
and
then we
then we
think
eat.
about what we should eat.
That's right. All right. That's right.
Yeah.
And there's
Hmm.
a bunch of examples of that you don't need to be in neuroscience to understand. The
Yeah.
emotions. Do we choose to have negative emotions? No, we don't choose.
They
These
just
emotions
arrive
just pop up.
times.
They arrive.
Yeah.
Right. So we're living in a world where this is now being known, it's being questioned, right?
Hmm.
It's part of our culture, it's part of our makeup. And so it stands to reason that it's not about the money. It's about somehow getting a sense of agency.
Hmm.
Somehow being able to have the sense that I've chose to do this. I chose to get this job.
Right.
I
Yeah.
chose to do this or that. And it's a desperate attempt to claim agency where there is none. It's not
Hmm.
about the money. If you think about it, if it were about the money, well, then we'd all just get behind a dumpster and spend about 10 minutes and spit it out, collect the money and go. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
If it's about the money, then I'll just off the guy. If it's not about if it's about the money, hell, I can beat your ass. I'll just take your money. You see? It's not
Hmm.
about the money. It's about buying into a false sense of agency. This really takes some thinking. I'm expressing this now, but it really takes some thought to wrap your brain around. I've been thinking about it for way too long, so I just assume my words should make sense and should be agreed upon. But I think you really do have to think this stuff out as I have. Um, and why I can speak so confidently about it. And I can't speak confidently about much these days, because it's all on this kind of stuff. The Fat Muppet says we have free will after we clear our subconscious, which most of us are not aware of is clogged up. Now, how funny is that? Fat Muppet has been like making just nonsensical, sort of comical comments, and now just says something rather intelligent. Wow.
He's
Although
part Ohana.
the thing is, I'm not agreeing with you. I'm just saying that's actually a pretty smart statement there, but it's not true. Um, and Fat Muppet totally understands what I'm saying, so I think we actually are really kind of on the same page, and on a healthy same page.
Yeah,
We're
it's just a
yeah,
really could I say twisted subject to like kind of be on the exact same page about, because it's such a it's a forefront question of human understanding, you know.
yes, yes, yes,
It's a
yeah.
it ain't easy to think these thoughts. Wait, who's thinking these thoughts? Hey, no,
Yeah,
no.
right. Well, consciousness and subconscious, anyone saying that they understand it outright is full of shit. So I might have said that I understood. Okay,
You're full
there
of
you go.
shit.
Okay, okay. We're talking about a subject that nobody completely understands, but we do understand the conversation. We do understand the experiments that have been conducted on consciousness. And so we can have the conversation, and we should have the conversation. The problem is the brain, speaking about the brain, using the brain, yes, becomes very twisted, convoluted, as you say.
There's
And
just yeah, it's you know, on the free will thing, it's such an interesting topic because everybody likes to fancy themselves a free, independent, individual, self-thinking person, right?
right,
That's like the you know that's essentially what people want to achieve, is that sort of independence, right? And through that
right,
independence, they where do they get it from, right? Where they get it from what they're dependent upon to achieve what they believe is that independence,
right. And you have bias.
right? And you have bias. But then there's the thing, oh well, I'm choosing to do this because I like to do it. Okay, well, a lot of the times nowadays people have to choose something to do that also makes them money, because that's it's kind of a silly thing that we have to deal with. And then with that is the independent agency that you get. But you don't get it because of your free will. You don't get it because of your free will. You get it because of all the things that you've been dependent upon until then. And
Yeah,
all those things that you've been dependent upon have been have influenced you that heavily to really show that you didn't think all those thoughts yourself.
yeah.
You weren't you weren't it. Yeah. You're a
uh,
poser.
yeah. Hey, I resemble that comment. Um, the Fat
Me too.
Muppet says, but I mean, negative emotions put a lot of obstacles in our way, and clearing the subconscious is a way to see through those illusions. Um, I like, I like, I like that you're chiming in, and I really do think that you're engaging intellectually here. So understand, be ready for the boxing gloves, be ready for the pushback on what you're saying. But I want to make sure you understand that I respect and am impressed actually that you're engaging in this conversation so cognizantly, so consciously. But no, here's the problem. This loophole that we're talking about, free will, freedom of choice, this loophole, it's not new. It's been around before any of us were born. Okay. It's a loophole. It's a multi-billion-dollar, if not trillion-dollar loophole. Meaning there are all kinds of philosophies, religions, spiritual approaches that have been sold through this loophole.
Right.
So, you're saying, and I'm going to repeat what he says here. I'm assuming it's a he, but and he says, it says, the fat Muppet says, but I mean, negative emotions put a lot of obstacles in our way. And clearing the subconscious is a way to see through those illusions. Bro, all I have to do to mess up what you just said is ask you to define subconscious. And the rabbit hole opens up wide. you know and what do you mean by a way to see through those illusions? Which illusions? Because although you are speaking in acceptable intellectual terms, this is what you're saying is very superficial in retrospect, because you would really we are actually trying to determine what is consciousness, let alone subconsciousness, right?
Yeah.
Now we know in the vernacular, we know what subconscious means, meaning like not in the front conscious. Oh, there goes my battery. So we know in the short term what subconscious means and conscious means, but you can't really go pedal backwards to explain. If you're trying to explain something, you can't pedal backwards. Does that make sense?
I'll throw out the Oxford definition, just so that we have the definition for it.
Okay. All right.
Of or concerning the part of the mind of which one is not fully aware, but which influences one's actions and feelings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so sorry, Fat Muppet, but Chad kind of just bested you on that, because by coming up with the actual definition, it kind of makes what you're saying not actually make any sense, because clearing the subconscious is a way to see through those illusions. That's what you're saying. Um, yeah, you're not really using the term correctly. Would you agree with me on that, Chad?
Yeah, it's because, like, specifically on this part of the definition, but which influences one's actions and feelings. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the part that kind of settles it in the definition, because it's like not fully
Right.
aware of it, but it influences one's actions and feelings.
Right. So
So
there's great assumptions going on there.
yeah, yeah,
The assumption is that we have consciousness, but
right.
yet
Yeah,
there's a thing called a subconscious that has us doing things automatically or influences what we do.
yeah, like,
You know.
as if, like, do you think like, for instance, I think one part is intrusive thoughts. Do
Mm.
we think to bring these intrusive thoughts to our heads, or do they just pop up randomly? they just pop up randomly, man. They just
Yeah.
arise when the circulation of the brain does its thing, and then all of a sudden you have this intrusive thought, and you're like, "What is that coming from my subconscious mind?"
Yeah.
You know,
Right. And then that says nothing.
it
Yeah.
says nothing.
Right. You know, again, Fat Muppet, where is it? After we clear our subconscious, which we're most not aware of. All right, I lost what it is that you were saying there, Fat Muppet. But yeah,
To clear the subconscious, right? I think it was like clearing the subconscious is a way to see through those illusions. But the
right.
that the subconscious is those illusions itself, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
the
Well,
subconscious are
yeah,
the illusions.
no, he. That's what I think. He's sort of implying with his words that yeah, that the you have to get through the subconscious in order to see through the illusions, as if the subconscious were creating illusions, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. Now there are practices that specifically do this. Is another thing that he's saying. There are practices now. I'm wondering if you're talking about meditation and practices of that nature. And again, you're in good company here. We're arguing respectfully, so please don't take offense. Um, Shamanism and Sufi, uh, Sifu, yes, yes. But now you're talking to the priest.
Yeah.
You're talking to two. You're talking to two Sifus.
Well, I think we consider ourselves pretty well versed in the meditative properties of that.
Yes,
Jen.
we've put in well over 10,000 hours of the meditation and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yes, those practices actually, I'm really going to have to push back now. Well, shamanism is a sham. That's where the word sham comes from. I'm pretty sure is shamanism. So yeah, yeah, we're not going to go there. But and to say that there are practices that help you to see through those illusions, well, you kind of miss your mark there, but you're almost there. Meditation doesn't help you to see through or to go beyond.
Right.
Meditation allows you to understand that you aren't the thinker of your thoughts.
Right.
Meditation, quite simply, because most people's concept of meditation is clearing their mind, or you know, there's a lot of convolution regarding meditation, a lot
There
of
is.
fluffy convolution that goes around meditation. And meditation, quite simply, is the act of stopping long enough to see that you are not the thinker of your thoughts. And because what happens is we think we're the thinker of our thoughts, and then that self perpetuates. We then think we're the thinker of the next thought, and the thinker of the next thought, and the thinker of the next thought, when we weren't the thinker of the first thought. And so when you're meditating, typically what happens is you're just trying to, like a breath meditation, you're just trying to focus on your breath and nothing else. Well, what happens? You hear something, you think of something, you scratch, there's all these things that happen when you're supposed to just be sitting there and focusing on nothing else but your breath.
Mhm.
That is what meditation does, right? In our standing meditation, it has that same effect where we realize, oh, he and Sal? Oh yeah, you're just twirling your hand around. Oh, okay. All right. Then follow me while I lead you through this standing Wing Chun meditation. I guarantee you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to go, oh, what is it this? Oh, this way? Oh, hold on. Or
Mhm.
Justin's a really good example of this. I'll watch
Right.
him and he's like doing something entirely different, but he thinks he's doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you've had students that. Well, I guarantee you've had students like that
Oh
that
yeah.
think that they're doing it, and it's like, nope, your elbow should be here.
Yeah.
No, it's clockwise,
Yep.
counterclockwise.
Yep. All the typicals. Yep.
Yeah, and the thing is if you just were sitting there and watching, and you say, "You think you could do what that guy's doing?" You go, "Yeah."
Right.
He's just standing there twirling his wrist around. He's just standing there, knock kneed,
That
you
looks
know,
so easy. Like that looks simpler than lifting dumbbells. Like
not even easy, like stupid, like,
yeah.
eh,
Like
right?
yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't even put a difficulty rating on it
Right.
until you tried to do it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you start getting it. Maybe not intellectually,
Hmm.
maybe in your subconscious.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, right? You start realizing, oh, well, I thought it was easy. I better work on this. I can't believe I can't twirl my hand around like that. What,
Yeah.
early on when I started teaching, I was quite amazed. Yeah, I was one amazed at how hard it was to do when I was learning it. I'm
Hmm.
like, how? Why is this so hard? You
I
know, he's
know.
just standing there doing these stupid little postures. Why is this so hard?
You know.
If you don't know Wing Chun, you could, think Tai Chi. You know,
Mhm.
what were you saying?
I hold on. I was like, it was there, and then it kind of just like dissipated. It's like on a flying carpet right now in my head, flying. Uh, ah, oh yes, the students. It's also, it's so hard to learn, right? Like you notice, I mean, there's certain students that definitely understand and learn quicker, uh, whatever it may be, like be it they already have coordination of some sort, right? Like I noticed musicians can understand the sequencing really quickly, just because the music is a sequence of notes and blah blah blah. But it's also like my first time teaching was not easy. Like it was, you'd think it would be easy for them to learn. Well, it's even harder to teach them to do it because you delivered them all this information, and and maybe it's just a proper Hyunsao where while maintaining dynamic tension, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But they're but they're so focused on the dynamic tension that they forget to Hyunsao, and then you get this back and forth between maintaining your grounding, and then um, learning to do the postures, and then to
Yeah.
teach the person to do the postures. Oh man, yeah, there's definitely students that get it quicker, definitely students that don't get it as fast, but I
Yeah.
also feel like it it's hard for the instructor to teach somebody because some like for instance, there's one guy, and he was a tall, like 6'2" black dude or something like that. He was I don't know, discharged from the military for whatever reason, no idea. I would think I was 26 at the time. He was 42 or something, or 38 or something like that. Very big age thing. And he'd been paying, he'd been coming to class 4 days a week. trying to get him to do Tao, right? And we're teaching him Tao in all these different ways possible. Cut it into sections. The first section, a third of the first section, all these things. But he was definitely the most challenging student I had ever tried to teach. And it ended up that I couldn't actually teach him because he had already thought he was doing everything right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
He was not aware enough of his own body, of his own movements, and of himself. He wasn't aware enough of himself to know that he wasn't doing it right. And not only that, but he wasn't listening to the one that was telling him, like, no, dude, it's wrong. Like, and this is
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
And I'll show him why it's wrong, and then he would just disregard it because I'm this like small little 5'9" half Japanese dude, and he's this big old 6'2" black dude. And next thing came the next thing, right? And then I actually had to show him, like, playfully, physically, why
what this was all about. Yeah.
what it's all about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just say
Yeah.
he
We're
did
not getting. You don't need to. If you're going to get too fluffy, we could bring it right on back to.
exactly. Yeah.
We could bring it right on back to just punching your ass.
Exactly. I was like it came to a point where I was like, all right, man, you say that you know everything that I've taught you, and you say that you know how to do all this stuff. I'm telling you that you don't. And I just started laying out the mats.
Boy, and you know what though? I have so many of my students are in that same boat where they're like, "Oh, okay, I don't need Sifu Z anymore. I learned what he taught me." I'm like, I'll tell you if you learned what I taught you.
Yeah, it's
I'll
you
tell you
learn.
when you got it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's why you have a teacher. The teacher
yeah,
tells you when you got it. You know,
yeah.
so many. I'd have to say most of them,
Hmm.
because if they were still with me, I'd probably still have a Quan. I'd probably still have the sticks and bricks. Blah blah blah.
Hmm.
So practically all of them. You know, the Fat Muppet says, "I think the subconscious sits at the belly button." Man, we're so hot and heavy in this conversation that now you're going. Again, I don't want you to get upset here or offended, but you are not thinking that the subconscious sits at the belly button. You're talking about what's known in the mystical world as the Dan Tien. Okay. And it has, before we thought that the brain was where the consciousness was, we thought, and this is like back long, long ago, right? We used to think that the stomach was the thinking center, was where consciousness came from. And all the stuff that we attribute to our brain back in the day, we used to attribute to our stomachs.
Hmm.
Now, the reason why these concepts still exist, and you don't think that, someone else turned you on to that and you agreed with it. Um, the reason I think that these things exist, have existed, these thoughts that the thinking process or consciousness comes from the brain or the stomach, is because both of them are. I'll even add this: the whole body is. This is something I've taught early on in Wing Chun. I've been teaching this since day one in Wing Chun. The whole thing about the brain and or the stomach not really being the main processing center. Sure, they're part of the process, absolutely, but it's a whole body thing. A great example of this is somebody that gets their arm cut off, but they still feel the arm. They still feel the hand. They have their arm and they still feel the arm or the hand or a finger,
Right.
a limb. People that have had limbs cut off, they still feel those things there. which is a huge indicator as indicator, a hint. Doesn't lay anything out positively at all. Anything we're saying is not positively. We're just talking here. But the whole body is responsible for consciousness, what we call consciousness, what we call thinking, what we call, all of this. The whole body is, the entire body. Another example of this is, well, when you stub your toe, or there's been a lot of stories about people that will, let's say, stub their toe and it brings up a memory, or when something happens to you physically and it starts a memory that you didn't have for a long time otherwise, but all of a sudden you affect a certain part of your body other than your brain and stomach, and it triggers memory or a consciousness of a memory.
Right.
So we know, just, on a very base level, that consciousness, what we call consciousness, really, there's the whole body is involved here.
Yeah. The whole
What's
body.
very interesting is that we our world, and this is where people like to poo-poo on Westerners and the whole Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy. Well, buddy, you're talking to two people that are part East and part West, man.
Right.
I was, you know,
That's right.
so, and I think we're kind of uniquely suited um, to have this conversation, and with a little bit of authority.
Yeah.
The Easterners will say things like, the Dan Tien is part of the whole thing, right? The
Hmm.
Westerners say, well, no, it's the brain, right? And now we're starting, well, the East, of course, has gone very West. China, by the way, doesn't have a bunch of um, people doing, Chinese traditional medicine. I've been to China. No, if you're sick in China, you go to a doctor. That
Yeah.
that, that they don't. Only poor people that can't afford doctors will then go to what you would call a shaman to perform some sort of function that will, fool you into thinking that you're okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Oftentimes it does, right?
Placebos are
The
quite miraculous.
placebo effect is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, and then the Western world has segmented everything. The brain is the thinking center, and they've segmented everything.
And the body is the doing. Brain
Yeah.
is thinking, body doing. Yeah.
However, the Western world is realizing that through science that that's not exactly right either.
Yeah.
And so what happens is these people that have bought that either case like to make these huge gaps, huge jumps in gaps in their thinking, or in their in what they believe or think, right?
Yeah.
They're going, oh well, Western medicine is realizing that they don't know everything, so therefore the Eastern was correct.
Mm.
No, or the Eastern, or on the other side, the Eastern side's realizing that their shamans can't, cure cancer or whatever that, so they're wrong, and they make that big gap without doing any of the work in between. So there is a middle ground between the physics and the metaphysics. I'm going to go back to the heart of our conversation. People haven't done the work. They get lazy and they jump from one to the other without doing the honest work. You know, we'll say, well, I believe this. Well, what we believe doesn't mean shit.
Mhm.
You know, in this conversation, you know,
Mhm.
what we believe, it's what we can prove. Right? In
Mhm.
this conversation, it's what we can prove.
Yeah.
And proving the nature of consciousness, or even subconsciousness for that matter, is something that neither side has done, but both sides um, like to make that claim,
Yeah.
falsely like to make that claim. And then they use the ignorance of all the people that they'll side with to bridge that gap, right? In Wing Chun, we have a thing called Chum Q. And Chum Q is really, for us Sifus, is us Wing Chun Sifus, is our way of doing the work between that far east and far west concepts that are extreme and flawed in their approach. And it takes a lot of work to get to that center point. It takes you don't just go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, he's an authority. That's what's true. No, man. If you want to know yourself, you have to do the work. And for people like myself, it will become very obvious and very evident if you've done that work or not,
Mhm.
you know, just with the words that you use, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not about the money, it's about the sense of agency. It's about trying to somehow fool yourself into a false sense of agency without having to do the work. Man, this has been this has been deep. This is definitely our deepest we've
Yeah.
gone, without a doubt.
On live.
And what's that?
On live are the deepest we've gone on live. I reckon we've had these conversations face to face before
Oh,
too.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always have these conversations,
I
but this is the
it's
first time we've gone live with this conversation and have been able to bring up a lot of the points all at once.
yeah.
But I think we've been able to bring up all these points because we've had this conversation so much, and because of our training. You know,
Right. Yeah.
what's fascinating about our Wing Chun, and what I've really tried to say, that what my, what is my specialty? My specialty, I feel, has been taking Wing Chun into this physical thing and being a pure physical thing, and being able to bridge the gap of the metaphysics, to bring, you know, to a good example is the the 12 laws, the Sifuzi's 12 laws.
Mhm.
Well, the Sifuzi's 12 laws comes from Wing Chun postures done on the Mukjung.
Hmm.
They're not like just randomly associated. They are
Right.
not randomly. I know it came as an epiphany. These 12 came as an epiphany. Well, when I was doing the 12 combinations on the Mukjung, they came to me as an epiphany. It's a shame the student that was present when this was happening. I was on the phone with one of my students that was in Las Vegas, and he learned everything online.
That guy.
And we were having like a 6 hour conversation, and I had this epiphany while I was speaking with him. I was in Hawaii, he was in Las Vegas, and that's where the 12 laws came from, during a conversation I had with him, reflecting on the Mukjung, because I was trying to teach him the Mukjung online, him in Las Vegas, me here.
Yeah.
And as I was doing that, these axioms, and that's what the 12 laws are, are very typical axioms. I
Hmm.
didn't create any of these axioms. They're like ancient axioms,
Yeah.
but they're all connected to the 12 combos on the Mukchang. You know, so I've always been fascinated with Wing Chun in that respect. That it by doing Wing Chun, the simple Hian Sao and the simple Kimi Ma, and how that actually translates into some heavy metaphysical or intellectual um truisms, shall we say.
Mm.
You know, uh I'll share one of them with everyone here. Sifuzi law number one: appreciate all things. I don't actually, honestly, I don't know anyone that has said appreciate all things, but I'm sure the gist of that is ancient. Appreciate all things.
No, dude, you thought
Oh,
of it first.
especially.
Point it. Oh, check 1 2. Check, check 1 2. Are you there? Oh, I hear you now.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, it is.
and
It is pretty crazy, man. Because I tell you, my processing, my processor in my brain got faster after Wing Chun.
I believe it. I
It got
believe it.
faster, and it started recognizing the bugs in the code in my brain.
Good
Just
way of putting
as an
that.
analogy.
Yes, great analogy. Great analogy. Yeah, I had said something online. I said, I'm really, really proud of my Wing Chun students, and it is a kind of a weird thing to say because you know the history and you know what's up,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so for me to say that I'm proud of all of my students, you might be kind of thinking, "Hey, you're blowing bubbles, Sifu. What the fuck are you talking about, man?" But here's the thing. I say that as a normal person, not as a Sifu, so to speak. Aloha,
Right,
Matthew.
right.
You know, um, and what I was trying to say and had to shortcut with how I said it. But the long form of what I was trying to say is one, I'm really, really proud of one student. But let me back up. I'm really proud of Wing Chun's ability to take a small amount of Wing Chun to completely take over somebody's life. Bruce Lee was the first one. Bruce Lee did so little Wing Chun. He
I
only
know.
did, I think, less than 9 months of Wing Chun, and he became world famous. He is still the icon for martial arts worldwide with just a little Wing Chun. And so
Hmm.
that's kind of what what I mean to say, but I didn't want to be long-winded with this, right?
Yeah.
Well, the students that I've had in the past are ridiculously successful for who they are, and really, if they understood what I was saying, they would be maybe offended because,
Yeah.
bro, I can't believe the success levels of the people that I have taught, and they just knew a little bit of Wing Chun, and I know who they are. They weren't going anywhere. No,
Right.
they weren't. They were staying in that trailer park for life. They were
Hmm.
staying wherever the hell they were. I knew who they were, and they were very, very thankful to me. Not enough to keep paying me, of course.
Yeah.
That's how I know they really didn't get it. But they were able to take a little bit of what I taught them and be more successful than than their wildest dreams.
Yeah.
Um,
It's pretty
I would
wild.
even say, superficially speaking, more successful than you and I.
Mm-hmm.
You and I will never be that successful, my friend. That's not the success that we're after.
No. No.
We're after the success of being able to live life in real time. To
Yeah.
be, yeah, that's what we're after.
Mm-hmm.
And to cooperate and communicate to the best of our abilities as much as possible.
Yeah.
Um, the superficial stuff. Listen, man, in the way I think of it is, I may have always been, I don't know. I don't know if I've always been this way, but and I almost want to call bullshit on myself before I even say what I'm going to say.
Sometimes
But
we
I
do.
just don't,
We do.
yeah, I just don't feel like I should be in a house, in a mansion. I've been in houses, and I've been and you've seen the places I've lived and been. We've
Yeah.
both lived in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Um, we both are affiliated or family members that have money and blah blah blah, right?
Hmm.
I don't feel very good as long as there are people that are needlessly suffering out on the streets, needlessly.
Yeah.
I don't feel all that good about having good stuff. You know, I've seen a thing online saying we can't have good stuff. We can't have good things. But what I take that to mean is like you're conscious enough to know that you are living a lie. You are part of the problem because as long as it's like James Brown, as long as I got mine, as long as I got mine,
Right.
you know,
Hmm.
you can't be that way as a Sifu.
No.
There is no I got mine. There is everybody okay here?
Yeah.
That's what there is.
There's like a lot of there's selflessness. You know,
Absolutely.
absolute
But
self.
it's not I just lied. It's not absolute selfishness.
Not absolute.
It's
Selfish.
yeah.
Self.
You know what it
Less.
is? You
Selfish.
know what it is? It's honest agency.
Honest agency. That's a nice way to say it too.
It's honest
Yeah.
agency. It's
Like, oh yeah, that sounds better. Honest
yeah,
agency. You know,
because
being honest
now
with
I'm
people.
asking, is everybody okay? No, you're having problems? Let me help. Y-
Right.
And now you've just given me the privilege to have agency,
Right.
you know? So, in a world that's about money, that thinks it's about money, it ain't about money. Your concept of money is a false sense of agency. You're buying into the lie of a false sense of agency. Agency only comes when you're helping someone else. And folks, most of you out there are just helping yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I hate that saying. That's
Whoa, caught me. Damn, I thought I was gonna fall
yeah,
back.
I almost fell on your face there. So, yes, agency. Hey, And hey, I'll be the first to say, man, to each his own. You know, life's too short to be in a hole, so break into your funkiest stroll. That's a Red Hot Chili Pepper. Red Hot Chili Pepper lyrics. Life's too short to be in a hole, so break into your funkiest stroll. Yeah. You know, so whatever it takes, man. I mean, all I can say is I am truly appreciative that I've been able to live long enough to get to this point that I can see this much of reality. Because a lot of people don't survive seeing this much reality.
Yeah.
People don't, even smart people don't go this far. That's why I loved Wing Chun from day one, because I knew this is going to let me survive seeing real time as much as possible. You know, perhaps more than anyone else. I don't know. But, you know, boy, is that wonderful. And you can't buy it. No amount of money can buy you this. No amount of education bought stuff. This is work that has to be done between these two extremes, the East and West, right? The North and South. It's the work that you have to do, and then you can't do it in a vacuum. You have to do it with somebody that's better than you so you know that you're on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do it without having someone to share it with,
Mm-hmm.
because then it becomes in a vacuum. It's not
Right.
alive, it
Yeah.
dies.
It comes back.
So that's why um, when I say to you, I appreciate you so much, that's what I'm saying. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Because what you're allowed, the privilege that you allow me um, is quite incredible. Quite incredible. What,
Dude,
and
that
you know,
ways, brother. Both ways. From me to you too.
yeah. Yeah, and it's
You
not easy. It's not like an easy. This is definitely not the easy path.
no.
You know, yeah, living in your vehicle for the past 6 years. Yeah, in the freezing cold, against all the people that would rather see you dead, that marginalize you and think you're less than human. That ain't easy. You
Yeah.
know? And you go, well, what does that have to do with anything? It has to do with a lot, because if I'm too busy living the life that not you, but that you folks are living, if I'm too busy living that life, can't I can't have the experience that I'm having. Now,
Mm-hmm.
would I like to have the experience I'm having and also live in a castle and have a jet plane and a helicopter and a harem? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But not without this. This would have to come with it. If
Right.
this can't
Yeah.
come with it, then go fuck yourself. All that
Yeah.
can
I
go
don't
down the
want it.
toilet. I don't
Yeah.
want it. I
Yeah.
don't want it. I've had a conversation with somebody recently, and they're like, "Well, you know, they're offering homeless people places to stay. They're offering it for free, you know." And she said, "If you were offered a place to stay," before she could finish her sentence, I was like, "I don't want it." I'm like, "Well, you don't think I haven't been offered places to stay? I've been offered places to stay from the state. I've been offered places to stay from friends. I've been offered places to stay from family. But the problem is, I know damn well this doesn't get to come with it.
yeah.
And if this can't come with it, then the offer is nil.
Right.
It
Yeah.
yeah. So, um, you know, I'm impressed that you stick with the Wing Chun. and are also, you're also in that world as well, more than I am. But
Yeah, I
the
guess you
thing
could.
is you have to go through that. There's no bullshitting here. There's no
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'm living in my car, I got this down. No, you have to go through it, because the thing is when it comes time for you, if there ever comes a time, because it's your path, it's not my path, it's your path. But if there comes a time when you um don't do sticks and bricks, it's because it's not an option anymore.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
not a choice. It's not a choice. Right now, it's a choice. If I
Hmm.
had the choice, I'd be there too. But it's not part of the option. A great axiom I heard is, people often why you chose the path that you chose in life. And the answer to that is, why have you assumed there was more than one path?
Hmm.
They again, the free will thing. They assume, whoa, one of my students who will go unnamed, lives up Oregon. You know who he is. He was the one that asked this, and this is how I knew he has no Wing Chun, or
Mm.
or little Wing Chun. But he's succeeded greatly with the little Wing Chun that he has. But he has no Wing Chun, because he asked me. He says, Sifu, I've known you for so long. I've seen you go, you've been in the movies, you've been on television, you've been a rock star, you've been a martial arts, blah, 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 blah. Why have you chosen to live in your vehicle like a homeless person? Again, why have you assumed that there is more than one path?
Hmm.
There's only one path in life, and that's the one you're on,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Uh, and so and a and you know what, this is nothing new, not even a little bit new.
Uh,
There was once a Greek philosopher. His name is Diogenes. Are you familiar with Diogenes?
I'm familiar with the name. I'm not too familiar with his works. Like I can't just like remember it off the top of my head.
Okay, well, anyone that's watching this, Google Diogenes, and and read his work. Read the works of Diogenes. I'm not sure about this. I think the works of Diogenes didn't write anything. I'm pretty sure it's Pluto. Yeah, Plutarch,
Plato.
or Plato.
Plato.
Plato. Thank
Plato.
you.
Pluto.
Yeah,
Plato. Pluto's not a
I'm pretty
plant.
sure
Plato.
it's right. Plato. I'm pretty sure Plato is the one that tells us about the philosophy of Diogenes. But if you are familiar with Diogenes, then my life and how I'm living my life right now will be very understandable. You'll really be able to comprehend where I'm coming from. Understand. In fact, if you met me and you were learned, you would go, "Oh, a modern day Diogenes."
Here we go. Where's the? No, come on. Expand. I looked. I found it. Plato referred to Diogenes as
There we go.
Socrates gone mad. Diogenes was known for his eccentric lifestyle and teachings, which were a social commentary on the hypocrisy, double standards, and decadence of societies in Athens at the time. Let's see. Why can't I open this further? Um, well, wow, there's a whole lot. There's a whole lot here. Oh, here it is. Philosophical private of Socrates gone mad. Plato is asked about. Sort of he responds, "A Socrates gone mad." Plato's label is a representative for Diogenes' adaptation of Socratic Socratic philosophy as an extreme version of Socratic wisdom, offering a fascinating, if crude, moment in the history of ancient thought, but which ought not to be confused with the serious business of philosophy. This reading is influenced by a mixture of shamelessness and axis, which riddled Diogenes' biography, the understanding, though, overlooks the centrality of reason in Diogenes' practice. I wonder if this has what it's looking for. Does it sound anything
Now,
along the lines?
oh yeah. Well, the interesting thing about Diogenes
Okay.
is that he lived in a barrel.
Oh, he lived in a barrel. Okay.
Yeah, he was the most sought after philosopher of his time. And Diogenes preferred the company of dogs. Um, Diogenes,
Hogs?
w-
Hogs?
dogs,
Oh, dogs.
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 Yeah. He preferred the company of dogs. One time, a famous emperor or something of that nature went to seek the advice of Diogenes, and he searched far and wide. And when he finally found them, he walked up to Diogenes, and Diogenes was probably laying in his barrel, and he looked up at the emperor, or whoever this very high powerful person was, who if you disrespected they'd kill you on the spot, sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he finally found Diogenes so he could ask him for his advice, and Diogenes said to him, I'm only paraphrasing here, move over please. He was standing in the way of Diogenes' son. He was casting a shadow on Diogenes. He said, "Move over. You're in my son."
Hey, that is some deep wisdom right there.
Yeah, and
It really
you see,
is.
he could have been killed alone just by telling an emperor what to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, and yeah, Diogenes was a badass, and I didn't know about Diogenes until after becoming a nomadic. Yeah, Diogenes is quite a character, and I find a lot of similarities with the things that I've said and think and feel with a lot of Diogenes.
Here's an interesting passage that I think may go with it. Let's see here. It says, should I read the whole part? Okay, I'll read the whole paragraph fairly quickly. Diogenes' talent for undercutting social and religious conventions and subverting political power can tempt readers into viewing his position as merely negative. This would, however, be a mistake. Diogenes is clearly contentious, but he is so for the sake of promoting reason and virtue. In the end, for a human to be in accord with nature is to be rational, for it is in the nature of a human being to act in accord with reason. So and then here's the Diogenes has trouble finding such humans and expresses his sentiments regarding his difficulty theatrically. He is reported to have lit a lamp in broad daylight and said, as he went about, I am searching for a human being.
Man,
I like
I mean,
that.
see that what's wild about this is you know me, man. I have been on that trail, on that path for a long time,
Yeah.
well before I knew what Diogenes was. And imagine how blown away I was when I finally found out about Diogenes. It was so wonderful because a lot of times you feel like like you're different, like, oh, I'm different. I'm so different. I'm so different. And,
Yeah.
to some that's nice and all, but when you're freezing in your car, you don't really think it's all that cool to be so fucking different, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it would be hard to express how warm it was, how warming it was to know that there is a character back in the Greek days that was on this, that was saying this, that was thinking this. So yeah, this is classic. This is classic. This is and it's Western.
Yeah.
You know, now Diogenes is not anywhere as well known as Plato or Socrates or even Plutarch, but he should be, in my opinion. You know, he should be.
It sounds like, yeah, because it seems like he wasn't really put on the pedestal as much as, say, Plato, you know?
Well, they sure tried.
They sure tried, but yeah, but like
they tried, but Diogenes would then literally take a shit. Literally. You go,
nice.
oh, you're putting me on the pedestal. Oh, here, let me take a shit right here. Hey, oh, you want to see? Watch it.
I mean, you
He was
said it's
badass,
mine.
man.
You said it's mine.
He
I'm
was
gonna do it.
badass. He was badass, man. So, and you know, it's funny because although the suffering I'm going through, like I said, I have friends and family. I've got one buddy that's offering me a place. He's got this beautiful place in Maine. It's like, yeah, come live with me. Yeah, I got a friend, my rock star friend that I've made a lot of music with. He's like, hey, come stay with me in San Francisco. He's doing really well as well. You know. And then of course the friends in Hawaii. Yeah, come stay with me in Hawaii. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most people will go, what the fuck is even my psychologist does. He's there,
Right.
so you're going to Hawaii, right? No. So, okay, I thought you were saying. You know. Yeah. And people ask all the time, oh, you're from Hawaii. What are you doing here?
I do.
Yeah.
I know. I even get that.
I'm like, well, go to Hawaii. You'll find out.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you do so much drugs or you get so brain dead that Hawaii becomes like, will always be cool. You know, it's, oh, I live in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I live in Hawaii.
Oh, Mau Cow. I couldn't help it. I had to do that.
So, yeah. All right. Well, it's getting dark and cold, and I'm starting to get colder and colder with every breath I take here.
Yeah, the sun just set over here. It got dark.
I tell you what, man. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me, man. Because
Thank you. I mean,
this is the kind of conversation that we need to be putting out there, even if nobody fucking sees it.
Yeah.
Because at least we can refer to it. You know, at least we can, or, you know, everything we've said just now, just try to have a conversation with somebody and cover all those bases. We covered a lot today.
Yeah.
I mean, we made a lot of connections that otherwise would not have been understood to be connected at all. And we've made some very strong connections that I don't even know if I'd be able to make again. You know?
Right. Yeah. Can we remember
So
it? Like,
yeah. So for us to have this conversation and it be recorded and to be able to archive it, if nobody sees it, at the very least, if we feel like we can't ever cover all those bases again, or maybe we meet somebody and we say, listen, I'm going to send you a link. Spend 173 minutes and 48 seconds watching this. And if you don't get it, rewind it. And if you disagree, put it in the comment section down below. And absolutely subscribe.
We need 1,000.
We need 1,000.
1,000 by
we
the
need
end of
1,000.
2025. Come on, people.
That's right,
we can
man.
do it.
Let's not have much of 2025 go by without having 1,000 subs. Of course, the reason why we don't have 1,000 already is because of the corruption of the platform. This
Yeah.
is an advertising platform. This is a platform for people to buy shit and to sell shit and sell
Yeah.
shit that's made by the corporations. This is a corporate advertising platform. So there's a reason why we don't have 1,000. A huge reason why we don't have 1,000. So don't let that taint the value of what we're doing here. You know, numbers. It ain't about, when it comes to this, it ain't about numbers. It ain't about numbers. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're not trying, you know, I will sell you something if you want to, but it'll just it'll just be for you to go and work harder and start learning some Wing Chun over at cfuz.com.
Yeah.
And even that's free. So I mean, the only way that I'm going to get money out of you is if you become a decent person and understand that I'm worthy of sending money to. If you don't understand that, then I don't give a fuck about your money.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really is not what this platform was bought by Google for, you know. And by the way, YouTube used to be awesome. I believe my first YouTube channel, I had over 100,000 subscribers.
Nice.
And I did what Diogenes would do. And we both, you know, we both have you know who I'm talking about, the idiot that thinks he's a Sifu on the island.
Yeah.
That was something that he actually said to me. He was really upset that I would put stuff up and then take it down.
Yeah.
You know, probably videos with him in it or something. I don't know. You know, I don't
I
know
don't know
why
either.
that would be an upset. This something that would set him, but
I'm not too sure why
maybe
either.
thinking that I was bullshitting or something, and you know,
Yeah,
they,
you know, he thought a lot of things, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, and again, I will say this. I'm going to correct you there. No, he doesn't.
I should say he
There's
assumed.
no
Assumed
thinking
or
going on, whatever. No, there are outside influences, and
yeah.
that's what has directed him. And you know, he has to suffer through that, you know. And yeah, I don't even know what to say about that. I'd like to say things, but they're not true, so why say them? You know.
Yeah. We'll save it for a private
They're not
conversation.
accurate. They're not accurate, and they're not even worth saying.
Yeah, it's, you know.
So, all right, man. I will see you, of course, Friday, and we will see all of you out there next Sunday. I like to say this jokingly, so everyone understands what I'm saying. We'll be here next Sunday, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, Lord willing.
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting some pretty interesting atmospheric
Yeah,
energy.
it's
That's the
already,
word I was looking for. Atmospheric
it's going to
energy.
get wild.
Yeah.
It's already wild. It's going to keep getting more wild. And of course, oh, by the way, listen, folks, if they start dropping nukes and stuff, we're probably not going to do this show anymore. Yeah. So, all right, Matthew, I'm sorry we didn't get to pay much attention to you. I don't know if you're still out there, but thank you very much. I hope that you as well have a great 2025. May we all have a wonderful 2025. Um, may we progress. May we attain our humanity in 2025. You know?
Yeah.
In the year 2525. All right.
There may be some inclines or declines here and there, but just know that you can always make it back up again till the end of the year. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to like it goes with that physics experiment. There's the physics experiment where it shows the two metal balls on two slanted surfaces. One surface just is flat and goes straight down at a 45, and the other surface goes down and up, down and up, down and up until it hits the end. And people would think, oh, well, if it goes down and up, then that should take slower, but it actually goes faster.
Yeah. It's amazing how much physics can blow your mind. You
Yeah.
know, there's so much provable physics that that will blow your mind. That when I see people that believe in all this nonsense, like flat Earth and et cetera, et cetera,
Mhm.
right away I say, man, you like know nothing about physics. I mean, zero. And then also, why would you want to not know physics? Physics is so freaking amazing,
It's
you know?
literally the language of life, like how it works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all right, guys. I'll see you next week, same place. Thanks for visiting us here at the Outside Freak, where you could just come on over here and get your freak on. That's what it's all about. I'll see you
All
later.
right, shoots.